What is happening, Bigger Pockets family? It's Matt Faircloth here for our Monday live session. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to be doing this presentation to you guys, and I'm grateful for you guys to be here and meet with me every Monday. I'm here on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 3 Eastern Standard Time, not 1, not 2, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be here. It's every Monday. It's either me or my wife. It's kind of like Mondays with the Faircloths, Mondays with Matt and Liz, if you will. Maybe we'll call it that. But Liz will be here, or I will be here on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern to be bringing to you guys Bigger Pockets talking heads, Bigger Pockets guests, Bigger Pockets contributors, Bigger Pockets authors, all things Bigger Pockets. And we're going to do interviews. And most importantly, I'm going to be doing chats with you guys on this. So if you guys are watching right now, give me a shout out, make some noise. I want to hear from you guys. Type in the comment bar. Tell me where you're at. I want to hear about where you're from. What's up, Adrian? What's up, Joshua? Baton Rouge in the house, man. How hot and humid is it in Baton Rouge right now, Joshua? I want to know. Hopefully this Bigger Pockets conference happens in New Orleans, and we'll be down to see you. I hope to see you face to face. Hi, Richard. How are you? I've got YouTube jumping, and Facebook is jumping too. Hey, everybody. So quick tip, keep typing in where y'all are from. I want to give some more shout outs. I got Ken from Pittsburgh too. And if you guys can you guys do me a favor? While you guys are typing in where you're from, I want all you guys to do that. Take a minute and give this video a like right now. Give this, even if you guys are watching the recording, give it a thumbs up, because what that does is it helps us get the word out. It helps tell YouTube and Facebook, hey guys, I like this video. And what they do is say, hey, I think Joshua Richardson likes this video, and I think what we should do is we should show this to more people. So they'll pump it in more people's feeds, and more people will become aware of the awesome education that Bigger Pockets offers, and we can pull them in and teach them too, and make a better community of real estate investors that is biggerpockets.com. So thank you guys again for being here. Next Monday, join me. Monday, 3 p.m. I'm going to be interviewing Jordan Thibodeau, who is an awesome real estate investor from all the way out in California. He's going to be joining us. And you guys can watch the recordings on Facebook and YouTube, because I've had the Jay Scott. I've had Ashley Wilson. My wife has had several women's corners, and she's got more coming in the pipeline for you guys. So there's been lots of really, really cool interviews that we've had here. Chad Carson's been here with us. I've got some other tricks up my sleeve for some other folks I want to have on Mondays at 3 p.m. Put it in your calendar, Mondays at 3 Eastern. Come join me. A few shout outs here. I've got Ann Murray in Wallingford, Pennsylvania. I got B. Francis in Philly. Go Philly in the house. What's up? I've got Robert from Apple Valley, California. That sounds like a lovely place. Apple Valley, California. Anything with fruit in the name of where you're from. That just sounds awesome. Timothy in Chicago. Be careful out there, buddy. Michael and yet another Pittsburgh. Lots of Pittsburghs, man. Lots of you guys have a Pittsburgh watching party. Let's say I'll throw it out there. And I've got Reba in Los Angeles, man. Cool. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And one more, Dan from Boston, Atlanta, Cleveland, Los Angeles, Hartford, man. Lots and lots of folks here. Welcome, 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 everybody. So I want to line you guys up for my awesome guests. Why you guys keep typing in where you're from, because I'm going to keep giving some shout outs, man. So keep them coming. I have an awesome guest. And I am excited to tell you guys that on a personal note, I have done business with this person. I have become very good friends with this person, and she is just a phenomenal human being. Aside from being a phenomenal human being, she has the pleasure of dealing with my wife almost as much as I do in an awesome project that they came up with called the Real Estate InvestHER Show, which is a phenomenal podcast and a phenomenal community. And they've built just a great movement. So if there are women here on the stream that are watching, you guys need to check out the Real Estate InvestHER show and community and Facebook page and the awesomeness that is the Real Estate InvestHER. They are building phenomenal wealth for women and building awareness around that. So I'm so just excited for this guest today, and I'm going to bring her in. Everybody, give right now. I want you guys, as I bring her in, I want you guys to give a bunch of hearts right now. I want to see the heart count go off the charts for my guest, and that is the Andresa Guidelli. Andresa, come on in. Yay! Cool. Welcome. Andresa, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good.
Hi,
How was that
everybody.
intro? I'm out of breath now.
I can see it.
No, good stuff. Andresa, why don't we, I know, and Andresa, which podcast were you on? You're in the Bigger Pockets podcast, number what? Bigger Pockets, number 314. So y'all need to check that out. Andressa, before we get into our conversation today, why don't you take a minute and just take 30 seconds and tell everybody here how awesome you are. Just give us a brief intro to you in that for those that don't know.
Sure. So I am a mother. That's how I tell who I am.
Let's start it there, right?
What I do for a living is that I am a real estate developer, and I started doing full gut rehabs in Philadelphia, which I love. It's my place. And from there, I scaled to do new construction, and now I'm involved on both residential and commercial, which is another animal. But the core of construction, I have found that is still all the same. So that's my experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. And I think that's awesome. And I think that's something that we're going to talk about today. And we can just jump right in. People talk so much about, and listen, I'm one of those people, right? Let's talk about the deal. Right? I'm the people, right? Okay. There's the people are no different than me. I'm a people too. And what I do is I'll be like, the deal, let's go find the deal. And here's the market. And, I'm going to go and buy, I don't know, in Philadelphia, or right now we're looking at a deal in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, right? So I'm going to go and buy wherever that market is. I'm going to buy in that market, and I want to buy a 10 unit, or Nima is going to buy in Pittsburgh. I got him right here. Colin's buying in Houston, wherever you guys are buying. You're not going to buy the most shiniest penny ever. Whatever you buy in the market that you're buying is going to need something, or at some point in life, it's going to need some work. Real estate actually does not heal like a human being does. If it gets damaged, it needs to be repaired. So you're going to need this. I've joked that these folks are not even human beings; they're just another species. You're going to need an entity called a contractor to come in and make these repairs for you. And nobody ever talks about it, right? People talk about the deal and the cash flow and the this and the that, but they don't talk about the how. They talk about the what and the results, but they rarely talk about the how. And you are a how person, right?
Well, you know what? They talk about contractors a lot when things go wrong.
Yeah. Right.
That's when we start talking about. And I think that that's such an important piece of the puzzle. It doesn't mean that you don't need to do your due diligence with the market, with the property itself, but vetting your contractor and setting yourself for success prior of, writing the first check or, getting the rehab started. This is so essential. And I think that a lot of people spend very little time, and I feel sometimes that the seats are turned. Yeah. We are the ones begging for the contractors to work with us, and not the opposite. Now, I am interviewing you. Right. I'm going to qualify you. So let's go through that process. And I think that when you do that, when you are getting bids, that they understand that I am interviewing them and not the opposite. You
turn it around.
And I am just going to be, straightforward. I hate micromanaging, and that's not something that I'm willing to do right now. But, you got to do what you got to do in order to get the job done. But I think a lot of things can be avoided prior.
If you engage in the right way, and if you remember who's in control. And a lot of times people inadvertently, and I'll say it again, I'm a people. I've done this. I've handed control over to contractors of the job, like subconsciously. And I've told them in one way or another, and this is maybe by giving too large of a deposit, or by them telling me when they can start, and then not showing up for a week after that, blowing timeline, blowing budget, change ordering me whenever they feel like it, right? I've let the contractor drive. I'll let the contractor be in control, right? Few shout outs here, right? I got Jonah Hall Weber, who I know who's a friend of yours, and Liz, she's on. So I just want to give a quick shout out. Yeah, because I hear
badass.
Whoa. All right. Jonna's a badass. There she is. Hey, Jonna. Cool. Welcome. I just want to give you a quick shout out, Jonna. So let's jump in. We talked about, just the importance of owning the relationship with contractors. So let's say that somebody on the call here is watching, and whether you're like Nexo, who's 18, God bless you for being 18 and getting going and investing. That's awesome. So whether you're that, or you're Nexo or Nima or Colin or anybody here on the call, they've got a deal. They need to start finding contractors,
Mm-hmm.
right? Should they just Google or pick up the white pages or whatever? Like, how do you begin the process of finding good contractors to do your work? What should they do?
So there's several ways that we can go and find the right person. I always say that I don't wait until I have a deal in order to find a contractor. I want to build that relationship at all times. So one of the easiest ways that I feel that it's easy for me to find a contractor is that I look at the houses that sold close by. That are my comps, because I'm doing comps, right? So I'm looking for the houses that have the same style, that look great. If there is an open house, I want to go so I can see it. And if I like what I see it, I will look online for us here in Philadelphia, we can go online and see who pulled the permits. And I want to see a permit. If I don't see a permit, I was like, okay. Right?
Full renovation, no permits. No permit work in there, right?
Yeah. So if I do like what I see, and I can also see who did the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, all of this. And if I really like it, I get in contact with the person because he already did it there, right? So it looked great. It's very similar. It's a comp to mine. It saves a lot of time. Right. And the next step, I want to meet them at their job site, not mine, first.
Right.
Because I want to see other projects. How are they doing with other projects?
Let's underscore that, guys. And if I could give a few highlights, just gold that Andressa is dropping right now. Again, people have done this, and I've done it. I've had contractors only meet me at the site. Yeah. Listen, I mean, these things, Andressa, probably because you've been around the block a few times and you've made the mistake. You've learned what not to do, right? If you bring a contractor into only your job site, they're going to tell themselves they can handle this and they do lots of projects like this and everything like that. But if you go and walk other sites that they do, the other sites that they've done, they're renovating and whatnot, you can really see the proofs in the pudding. You can see the kind of work that they actually do, what they can actually handle. And you might realize this contractors that can tell you he's going to do a full gut renovation might only be able to install windows. That's all they know. That's all they really know how to do. You
can tell a lot by just walking there. The first thing that I always say is that I arrive 10, 15 minutes earlier because I want to know if he's already there, if he's going to be late, if he's communicating that he's going to be late or not. I never meet them during lunchtime because I want to see his crew working. Not during lunch. So I don't meet during lunch, and I want to observe how is the job site. Are they people working? How do they look happy? They look like miserable people working there. How
are they moving with a hustle pace, or are they painting like this? Right.
I want to know all of that, and I start asking questions about his job there or her job there. Like, how long does it take for you to get to the point that you are, and can you handle more? How is your time frame? All of this, from being clean to the time frame that they're going to be done to complete. And my eyes go everywhere because there's a lot of things that he or she is not going to be telling me, but I'm going to get all of that information because that is a screenshot of how your project is going to look like.
I think you said something, another nugget I want to, Anthony's officially getting his mind blown. I want to just throw that out there, Anthony. Awesome. I think those are your good nuggets too. And I want to throw out a nugget that Andressa taught me years ago, in that job site cleanliness is not just, that's just their work ethic. His guys don't clean up at the end of the day or whatever. And I've seen lots of construction sites that look like a red hot mess. And it's like, and then you ask the contractor about it and they say, we'll clean up at the end. We'll clean up when we're done. We're just going to make a mess today. We'll just clean up after that's not acceptable. First of all, an unclean job site is a safety hazard. Right. Yes. And if there is a true safety issue, like somebody falls down the steps or a fire or whatever, that falls back on you, on the owner. It doesn't fall back on the contractor. It falls back on you. It's whatever it is. Even if one of his guys falls down a flight of steps, it's going to come back on you. It's not going to get written up that he tripped over his own trash on his own job site. It's going to come out that he fell down your flight of steps, your liability insurance. Right.
That is so true.
Yeah. And just site cleanliness also is just a sign of a good work ethic, and it's a good sign, and things can get hid in the mess. if there's lots of sawdust and stuff piled everywhere or whatever, you might not see things on that job site that'll become evident to you later. Whereas a clean job site, it's easy to see potential problems, right? Yeah.
That is totally true. And another point that I will say, as investors, we're always looking to scale and do multiple projects at the same time. So my project right now, my rehab project that we are all doing right now, it is an example of walking through with a future lender, an investor. They want to see it. So I walk through it. So if it is not looking good, it's a reflection of my work. Matt, at the end of the day, I don't care how good or how sophisticated is the contractor or all the subs. At the end of the day, if the project goes well, it's on me. If it goes bad, it's on me too. I am the one that takes the blame for it. So all of us, we kind of need to take that step back and look, if this contractor is not the right person for this job, if he or she walked away with my money, it's because I didn't do a great job vetting him or her.
Yeah, you got to own it. Go like this. Whose responsibility is it? Right.
And think, okay, how can I implement process in place to avoid the situation in the future?
So I'll throw it out there. Anthony, I said about contractor falling down somebody's steps and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to jump in on this one. And I know there was another there was another direction that you and I can go in talking about documentation and things like that. But Anthony asked a question about workman's comp. Now let's just give you that scenario. I don't know if you want to touch it or not, but you got a contractor working on a site. One of his guys falls down a flight of steps, whether he was tripping over his own garbage or not. You know, now hopefully the contractor has workman's comp. You know,
we don't hope. We don't hope. I want a copy of that to attach to the contractor.
Yeah. So what? But I believe now. This is your Andressa. Offer me your opinion on this, Anthony. I believe that yes, the contractor's workman's comp should pick up the fact that he fell down the steps. Now, if he, and this is all if, right? If the guy ends up getting severely injured, or if he's just sue happy or whatever, they're going to go after every pocket that they can, and one of which is going to be the owner of the property. You know, yes, their workman's comp claim, their workman's comp insurance should jump on this, and it's going to cause you to be additional insured, and you're going to be covered and everything like that. But they'll likely go after the owner of the property where it was also, because they're going to get these other nasty breed out there. There's, like I said, there's human beings and there's contractors, and there's also human beings, and then there's attorneys. You know, which are a whole nother species of people.
We know that, right?
I do. Well, you and I have learned that. You and I have learned that the fun way, huh? And that. So at the end of the day, this person that fell down the steps, and God forbid, I've had people get hurt before too, and they do get attorneys, and some attorneys are good that help people. And that there's also attorneys that are looking for a check. They're going to go after every pocket that they can. So that's any thoughts on that? Andressa?
Yeah, I will always ask for a workers' comp, and some folks don't have it, so they need a exemption or a waiver out of that. The kicker here is that person really registered like as an employee of that person, or is just like a random guy or girl that came out of the street? And that is something that we always need to look for. Okay, is this your employee? Is this a sub? Who is this person on my job site here?
That is so common in the contracting world, because you'll see his workman's comp insurance and it'll say he has like 2 employees, it'll be like him and his key laborer, but he'll have 5 guys on his job site. Like,
so who are they?
Who's that? Right? Is this some guy you just found? You know? You and I worked with a contractor one time that told us that admittedly hired some dude to do stucco or whatever it was, and he said he found him on the street. You know, admitted to that. Oh yeah, it's just that guy over there. Right? That guy hanging out down the liquor store. I found him and had him do work. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You know.
No.
So you gotta monitor labor. Get to know who the laborers are, and make sure they're covered and insured. Guys. Absolutely. Guys watching, keep the questions coming. You got lots of good questions lined up here for Andressa, but I want you guys to let your fingers do the walking on those keyboards. Keep telling me where you're from, but also keep typing in the questions, because Andressa and I are here to serve you guys. We're here to have a great conversation for you guys to bear witness to, but we also want you guys to engage with some Q&A and pick some brains here. That's the whole point of this. So keep the great questions coming. Let's see. This is just a validation of you. Colton wanted to just say rule number 1, go to the contractor's work site. Great tip. Now, This is a great question. Nirajan wanted to know, is the cost one of the first considerations to select the contractor? Andressa, what do you think?
You know, it's one of the
Yeah.
items that I will look at, and not the cheapest ones, as my experience, right? I can only talk about my experience.
Mm-hmm.
The cheapest ones cost me much more at the end.
Ooh.
Right. So when I get different contractors, I want to understand if, number one, if they are like 100 grand off from each other, I didn't do a great job providing them a clear scope of work and what are the types of finishes that I am looking for. So I didn't do a great job if there is that discrepancy. But if they are 30 grand, 20 grand off in a, I don't know, 200 grand construction job, then we are there. And I'm going to negotiate the price regardless. I don't care what is the price. Negotiation is just part of the process, right? But price, it is important, but I need to know exactly where are the numbers. So a breakdown is essential for me. If I don't like lump sums, that doesn't tell me anything. I like a breakdown. Otherwise, I don't know where is he. If I get like $150,000 rehab cost, just the number, I don't know where things are, and I cannot even talk about
That's a great tip. Yet another one I've learned from Andressa is don't ever let a contractor give you a lump sum bid. And it's only just so you can hold them accountable to pricing and say like, hey, listen, you want to charge me $10,000 to put insulation in a little 500 square foot box? That's not right. That doesn't add up. Hey, he only has $500 in here to replace the roof. That's not right. Right. Yeah. And that could turn into, oh, I didn't know you wanted that roof replaced. I thought you only wanted it touched up or recoated or whatever. You can uncover discrepancies and misunderstandings through pricing breakdowns, right?
Absolutely. And I'm not interested though. Sometimes they say, oh, you want to know how I make it? I'm not interested in knowing the pennies or how much, how many nails you're going to use. That's not the case, right? We can break into carpentry, plumbing, electrical. I want to know how much is in all those items. Without that, I cannot do even a payment plan. So I don't understand how people do it.
Yeah, you can't do a payment plan. You can't do a structured payment plan to pay them for the work. You can't just validate their numbers. It's not necessary. I think that you've got to tell contractors, listen, I'm not asking you for this so I can try and beat you up or haggle you down. I get this isn't a hobby. You have to make money too. You're not just doing it for free. I understand that. But I also need to verify that you got my scope of work, and I need to come up with my payment plan. I also need to make sure I'm being treated fairly. And being treated fairly versus trying to beat you down are two different things. So,
absolutely. And I think that is all about the conversation and just making sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
If the payment plan is clear, they will get paid very quickly. If I keep looking to understand what the hell is this here, the payment process and the money on his pocket or her pocket is going to take longer. So I also tell them, I just want to make the process very easy and clear. So when you tell me, okay, ready for your inspection, I can come, check things off, and you're good to go.
And done, right? Nima had a great question. How many contractors should you go interview for deciding who to go with? Do you have like a sweet spot, like like a range of contractors, or I get there's obviously you want to just keep going till you find somebody that fits. But first round, when you want to interview contractors, what's your range of number of interviews that you like to do?
Sure. So I usually do 5 and I get about 3 bids. Because they not everybody is a good fit for me, and vice versa. I am not everybody's cup of tea too. So it's just like we need to find the match. But I don't want you guys to think that this is something that you're gonna do only when you have a deal. It's something constant. If you see a project that is running good, if you go to a RIA meeting, you meet a contractor there, go visit their job site, even if you do not have a project at that moment. So it's a constant building report constantly with that. Never know, because they have different specialties, right? You have contractors that are specializing new construction, contractors that can do TLC, and others that can do full gut jobs.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
no one that can do everything. That's a
And
red
the
flag.
one that tells you that they can do everything. Yeah, right. Right. Again, B Francis, you probably should just, Andressa, if you just want to give your contact info right now. B Francis wants to know any recommendations for contractors in Philadelphia. It's a big wide world out there, but Andressa's, does a lot of work in Philly. So,
Yeah.
B Francis, how can B Francis or anybody else watching, and we'll do this again at the end, but how can people get a hold of you if you want to pick your brain about Philly or about construction, or just give you a
You
shout
guys
out?
can find me on Bigger Pockets. I have a profile there too. Or you can send me an email at Andresa at therealstateinvesthER.com. HER.
Andressa at therealestateinvestor.com. So B
Yeah.
Francis, fire Andressa an email or look her up on BP in that. So
Yeah.
quick, Andressa, you covered one already. This is a good friend of mine who's been on my Mentorship Monday program on my YouTube channel. Adrian, welcome, man. Hope you're doing well today. And again, you've already given one red flag, which I heard was if a contractor tells you they can do everything. Like, I do plumbing, I do roofs, I do this, I do that. Flag. What's another quick red flag that is a walk away thing? If a contractor says X, you're out.
Yeah. So after I walk through and I say, okay, I would like to get your bid on this project. When can I expect to receive your estimate? And then sometimes they say, oh, 2 days, 3 days, a week, whatever that number is, I will hold them accountable for it. And if there is, okay, let me know if you have any questions or anything. A red flag to me is when somebody it goes like blank and I don't hear anything, or I will hear like, yeah, I'll send you tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes.
Right.
So that's a red flag to me because it's just his word. Right.
And they got
away,
excuses like, oh, I got tied up on a job, or this happened. The same story you're going to get about when you can get their bid is about when they can start to work and when they can do this and when they can do that.
Throughout.
Yep.
So that starts there. The other part that I mentioned before is the bid itself, right? The estimate itself. If they just do like a lump sum, that's a red flag to me. Either I didn't communicate it that I want the breakdown, or they just did it because that's how they've been doing. And sometimes I hear, well, I've been doing this for 45 years, blah, 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 blah.
There you go.
I don't care. Either you do a breakdown or we're not going to work. And that's totally fine. That's
my
totally
way or the
fine.
Highway. Right. Okay.
But that's a red flag to me. And one thing is that their job site, it might be a good thing, or it might be a red flag too, because that's a reflection. So all of these are red flags that we cannot ignore prior of hiring somebody. Absolutely not.
Absolutely. I got a bunch of questions here. I got Doug from YouTube. Hop in, Doug. Do you use a general contractor, or do you pick the subs and schedule them? I know you've likely done both. Which do you prefer, and benefits of both?
So in Philadelphia, for the work that we do, we need to hire a general contractor. The part of the company that I work for, we are the contractors. So I do both. I do both right now. I pick all the subcontractors for the commercial projects that we are the GC itself. But I also have hired general contractors to do full gut jobs for residential. So I have done both.
Yeah, I think that my thought on that is, if you're a newer investor, hire a GC. Because there's too many unknowns. There's too many. And I find that if you hire a plumber, an electrician, and an HVAC guy, they're all going to go like this. Like, oh, it's his fault, or it's this fault, that guy, this guy. They're gonna point around the circle and that. And you really need to know construction fairly well to be able to handle different trades. And that's when you get started, I would just hire one GC, have them do the whole job, and then study the work, ask a ton of questions, and maybe you can eventually save their probably 20-30% markup by calling trades directly in the future. But I would definitely start out by just hiring one GC to do your whole job. Sari wanted to know, just to rattle off a few top 3 to 5, maybe like 3 or 5 questions. I know you've covered a lot of this, or anything that when you're interviewing a contractor, any quick questions that you want to make sure that. Now you've said a few other work that you've done. payment structure, that kind of thing. What else?
I also ask if the folks that he's hiring is his own crew or not, if they're hiring others to come. That's important to me because I'm always looking to scale. So I would like to work with the same crew in different projects because then my quality control is there. If they make some mistake on the first, the second it will just reduce, and I don't need to be training anybody as we move forward.
I got a great one. Go ahead. Sorry.
The other thing that I say to them, I really want to understand how far are they to be able to get another project, because sometimes they can handle 2 or 3 projects at the same time. So I don't want to be pushing anybody to to be very thin on their capacity, because that's gonna affect me.
How many other jobs you on?
Yeah. And sometimes they might say, oh, I am 2-3 weeks out. Yeah, but I'm not. I am 6 months out, or whatever that might be, because I have zoning drawings that still need to be approved and all of that, so it's just like you got to find the right person for the right time for the project, but always keep building rapport.
Yeah. I got a great one from a mutual friend of ours here, Natalie. Natalie's got a good one. Natalie said, someone told me that the price would be 25% more if he had to put it on his insurance, right? Why would he say that? This is a roof job, but of course I want full insurance. I've had contractors tell me this. What are your thoughts if you had a contractor tell you, well, it's going to be more if you want me to put this job on my insurance, or more if you want me to do things like pull permits, or if you want me to do it, air quote, the right way, the price is going to be more. What would you say to that?
When they said, I didn't understand what put the job on their insurance.
Yeah, right. She's saying that
there's different types of insurance, right? I want the GC to have insurance, but builder's insurance is on me.
Right.
And I want my company to be added as an additional insured on their insurance. And there's no cost for that. So I don't know what type of project it is, or if there's anything else, but we as investors, as builders, as the owners, we have insurance as well. So it's two different types of insurance.
It sounds to me like this contractor is offering to do the work under the table, or like, kind of, off of their insurance books, or maybe not offering to name Natalie as additional insured or whatever. My 2 cents on that one, Natalie, is if this person's willing to cut corners to give you a cheaper price, what else are they willing to cut corners on? So I would not work with a contractor that says, hey, it's going to be cheaper if I, don't go insurance, don't pull permits, whatever it is. And that, so that just means they're looking to do it. They're looking to cheat or not do it the right way in exchange for, think about what happens if they save you 25% by not putting it on their insurance. Then who's insured? Like, what happens if a guy falls off that roof?
How did he come up with this 25%? I don't even know what is the structure.
That's
or
also
what
that's
he's
out of your
referring
to. Right. This is another good one here from Thomas on YouTube. Thanks for the question, Thomas. How would you go about paying contractors monthly, weekly, before the job is done? This is something you and I have talked. You've taught me a lot about too. Is in paying contractors. So how would you go about?
Because this is the
big one. It's a biggie.
This is a big one, and it's so important. And all of this needs to be not just a handshake, but a signature, a payment plan, detail. I usually do 4 or 5 phases plus the deposit, and it is an attachment to your contract. So it's not like, oh, we'll figure out as we go. No, we won't figure out as we go. We're just going to do it now.
I love that one.
So it really does. So, and a lot of people say, okay, how much should I give as a deposit? It really depends. New construction, it will be, there's no demolition, of course, right? There's foundation to be done, which is a different price. How about a full gut job that you need to demolish everything? It's a different price. How about a property that is already demolished? You just build up. So the payment plan, it needs to be divided in different phases, right? So once that phase is complete, I walk the project, I approve, and the money is released. It's exactly how the banks work. The general contractor does not need to know if I am what's called financing the project, or if I have a banker financing it,
Mm-hmm.
because the process is the same. I always say this draw here needs to be approved. So when we walk the project, if it is, let's say, windows,
Mm-hmm.
windows cannot be just laying down there. They need to be installed,
Yeah.
installed in place. Okay, approved. Windows are installed. Oh, 5 windows out of the 15s are not installed.
Yeah.
Okay, so not 100%.
Right.
And then we need to adjust. I'm not saying that this is like a rigid payment plan. It can fluctuate. Things can move around as you go. It's a dance.
Yeah.
But I don't pay for things that are not already completed. Plain
No.
and simple.
Would you do on that job? And this is Matt's question, not here. Let's say you walked the job and they had 15, 15 windows to do. They had
Mhm.
done 5.
Yeah.
Let's just say for round numbers, the window install number was 1,500. Would
Yes.
you do a partial if they
Yes,
asked you
and
for
we
it?
actually
Okay.
did that though.
Yeah.
On Opal Street, the 300 constructions that we did together.
Hmm.
Guess
Yeah.
how I figure it out? Because the lender, the inspector, did not land the whole thing exactly on the windows because they were not installed. So
Right.
he hold that for the next phase.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I've even seen you like, okay, well, you were just doing the windows, but you've also begun the plumbing, and the plumbing
Yeah.
goes until the next phase, and the plumbing looks
Yes.
to be like it's moved along quite a bit. So I'll actually give you a little bit of that phase and a little
Yes.
bit of this phase, as long as I can justify it and everything like that. So you said it's a dance,
Absolutely.
and you're not trying to hold these people over. You really just want to try and be treated fairly and not have them get
Mhm.
too far ahead of you.
Yeah.
So Gene, it is interesting, and I'm curious how you're going to respond to this, because you're working in a hot market like Philadelphia, right? And
Mhm.
Philadelphia is, still building up and everything like
Yeah.
that. Pre-COVID, I'm sure now during COVID, it's still going. Gene wants to know, if you're in a hot market, are there any of your terms that would maybe be first to go in exchange for getting what you think to be a fairly good contractor on your job, and you need to get things moving? It's a hot market. The contractor is going to be busy and everything like that. Is there anything that is a nice to have, but you don't have to have, that you might be willing to let go of?
Mm.
Regarding your terms for contractors? I
Man,
know it's a
it's
toughie. I
it's a
know,
tough
right?
question. That's a
Yeah,
great
that's a
one
good
because
one. Good
I'm
one.
thinking like, okay, what can I give up here,
I
and
know.
to get those things done? Listen, it really depends on the relationship that I have with the contractor as well. If it is
Hmm.
my first time working with this person, I might be very firm. But if it is not, if I have done projects with him or her for different projects, I might be willing to front some money, more money, because I really, that trust is already there. And
Hmm.
I am sure, or he or she can get it done quicker. So I
Hmm.
also don't like to, hold the project. I will do whatever it needs to be done in order to make sure we move forward. But the
Hmm.
trust needs to be there.
Yep.
I wouldn't be flexible if it's my first time doing a project with somebody.
Hmm.
It will cost me a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and remember, the more you flex your terms, Gene, the less in control you are on things. So if you need a great contractor and you're in a competitive market, there's a few things you can flex, as Andressa said. But the more you give up, the more you're slightly out of control on this. But great question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, a few more. Monique wanted to know. Do you? I'll bottom line it here with regards to contracts and dealing with contractors. Do you have your own contract? Do you allow the contractor to produce their own contract? Do you use something like an AIA contract? Or what do you recommend using as the mutual agreement that everybody signs?
Sure. So yes, I have my own contract, and
Hmm.
if the GC wants to use his contract, I want my attorney to review it and
Hmm.
add what is important to me over there. So
Hmm.
there are a couple things that I add as an addendum: scope of work, finishes list, the payment plan, the schedule, waivers,
Yep.
W-9, the
Hmm.
insurance, and the AIAs is just a form that we request. I'm gonna get from the GC requesting for funds. I don't do
Hmm.
AIAs for residential, only commercial, because those are like larger numbers.
Hmm.
But it is always, if it is my contract, if they want to add something, my attorney needs to take a quick look, or if
Yeah,
he wants to use his or hers, then we're gonna adapt that. But the addendums
absolutely.
are like very important to it.
Yeah. Okay. This is another good one from Reba. How do you go about payment on a rehab? And this is our bottom line it too. Reba really
Yeah.
wanted to know about paying for materials, right?
Yeah.
Would you prefer to pay the contractor a small amount of money or at least a portion up front to cover materials, or would you prefer to buy materials yourself and say,
Here's
I'll cover materials and I'll just have the materials delivered to the site so
yeah,
you can do it? What do you think?
it depends.
Nah,
It's my favorite answer.
it does. No, it's a good answer.
Here's why. It depends. If you have experience in construction, totally fine buying the materials, because then you know that is being put on your project, not somebody else's project. And quick tip, always check the receipts. You're gonna see Reese's Pieces there, you're gonna see tools, you're gonna see so many other different things there. You're gonna be surprised. You're gonna have fun by looking at it, but that's okay. So the second,
no, I've had contracts like they buy themselves Reese's Pieces, they buy themselves Gatorade on your receipt, on your Home Depot card or whatever it is. I'm like, what?
And I was like, what the hell is
buying
this?
you lunch? What is this?
Yeah, $2 here, $2 there, multiplying by 10, 15 jobs, it gets a lot of Reese's Pieces, but that's okay. So the first thing is experience. If you have experience, because without that, you just don't know, right? You're just trusting that the person is buying the right material, and most important, that all of that material is going to your job only.
Yeah, man.
So I hear a lot about, okay, I want to save money by me buying the material. If you have the time for it plus experience, yes. If time is not your main thing, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of logistics to coordinate, depending on how many projects you have at the same time.
Yeah.
And you might not save a lot of money at all, because they're all buying the same thing, unless you have a deal going on a pro account on Home Depot or Lowe's or something that you really, it's your thing and you get a lot of joy out of it. Other than that, I'd rather spend time on the finishes list and it's all there. And if they get it for a lower price for the same product, kudos to them. Good to go.
Yeah, let them use their vibe. I personally prefer letting contractors buy the materials themselves, because then the counting how much lumber and counting how many pieces of sheetrock and how many screws and how much paint, whatever, all that's on them. You got to value your time. And if a contractor is going to be calling you saying, "Hey, I need another gallon of paint," you might have saved yourself a couple $100, but what's your time worth that you got to go either go to Home Depot and get it for them or to call ahead or whatever? I personally believe in just giving them a small advance for materials, and then you have to worry about them stealing from your Home Depot expense for other jobs or them buying themselves Reese's Pieces or whatever. Do that off the $200 they gave you for materials. Go buy yourself all the Reese's Pieces you want. That's part of your payment, a few more questions. Eric B, is a local property management company a good referral source for a contractor? What do you think?
Rock stars know rock stars.
There you go. Good people know good people.
You want to find a good painter? Talk to your drywall guy. They probably know a good painter, and vice versa. So I like when they refer to each other, because then they can work together, and that is a blessing when you have HVAC guys, plumbers, and electricians all working together in harmony is a blessing. So yes, property management companies, they know everybody knows who is who, the good and the bad. So
it's a good one.
Always.
Finish it up here. Okay, this is my first rehab ever for a property I'm purchasing in Cobbs Creek, down there in Philly with you, right?
Yeah, so, I know where it is.
You do? Okay. Do you know Pukmana?
No, I don't. No, okay. I don't know her.
She wanted to know any books you recommend reading
for rehabs.
Yeah, for construction, just to hiring contractors and everything like that. You got anything? Oh, okay. There you go. We'll get a few favorites out of that stack there.
All of those.
Okay, we can't see that. Give us a few shout outs here out of the book.
Let me just grab it very quick. So I have here Jay Scott is the number.
Jay Scott's great book.
Yes, this is Jay Scott's book.
The book on estimating rehab costs.
Yes, that's a good one. And I have This one.
Okama, that's the name.
So
Okay.
many. This one, it's pretty good.
Construction management, jumpstart. Okay.
I have one here that is one of my favorite. This one here.
Oh, that's a thick book.
It is.
Okay.
So have you ever heard about people saying, oh, how long does it take to put a door up or sheetrock up or whatever? Well, this book has it, and it has it per state.
Wow. Like how long it takes to hang a piece of sheetrock.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Because contractors are like, oh, well, then you can figure what contractors ought to be making per hour plus overhead, markup and profit and everything like that. And they quote you $300 to install a door. And you look in that book and it says that should take them about a half an hour for a good contractor to install a door. You're like, wait. So he wants to make $300 for a half an hour.
But you can have an idea of if it is this fair and if it is not.
Good. Okay, so I guess rewatch the recording so you guys can pause the screen when Andresa holds those books up, man. Those look awesome. Great. Okay. Okay. Guys, listen. The feed is blowing up, and there's so many questions. I've got bad news. I'm not going to get to all of them, but I got good news. Because Andresa is awesome, and she's going to do me a huge favor that I didn't tell her that I'm going to ask her to do right here. But I know Andresa is awesome. I know Andresa is going to say yes. And so what the big favor I need Andresa to do for all you guys is to jump on here onto the Facebook feed and to jump on a Bigger Pockets Facebook page or Bigger Pockets YouTube page. Andresa, will you do us an enormous gift and come back through here in about an hour and write a few comments? Just comment to these questions and leave some thoughts, and then people can now they know how to get a hold of you and everything like that. So will you get onto the Bigger Pockets YouTube and Facebook feed and keep this conversation going? Because I probably got another 20 questions here on both between Facebook and YouTube, and they really want to pick your brain. There's a lot of value you can give. Andresa, I cannot thank you enough for opening your brain up and letting us jump in there.
One thing that I want to invite everybody, I will be speaking at Bigger Pockets conference about construction too. So I would like to invite everybody to buy your tickets, and it's going to be awesome, an awesome conference, and we can also chat and meet in person. Finally.
Yeah, go to New Orleans and meet in person. We're going to do this, whether we're wearing masks or not. Liz and I are going to be there too. Cannot wait for that one. That's going to be an incredible conference. I hope you guys can all make it to PPCon 2020. Andresa will be there. Liz and I will be there. That's going to be a ball. So Andresa, as we wrap it up, you have been so gracious with your time and really laid out a lot of great information. This has been a really great interview. Now, if folks want to get a hold of you, I know you said it once, but just to say it again one more time, if folks want to get a hold of you to pick your brain, to reach out, talk about Philly, talk about construction for your company, to talk about anything else, how do they get a hold of you?
So you guys can find us on Instagram at the Real Estate InvestHER. And also on our website, therealestateinvestor.com, you can find more information about what we are up to. All of that on our podcast. We interview successful women around the globe about their real estate journey, and it's all free content.
And by the way, Damien on Facebook has asked that you please list the books. Okay, don't do it right now, but when you go on Facebook, Damien, I hear you. I got you right here. Damien just said, please, with the vegan vibe shirt, Damien, I'll give you a shout out. Please, if you could just list the books under Damien's comment there. The book you had, those look like phenomenal books. I'm going to look back to see what those were too. Awesome stuff. So, Andresa, thank you. I just cannot highlight enough what you guys do for the Real Estate InvestHER show with my lovely wife Liz, and that I know you guys. I just have heard some great stuff coming down the pipeline, including the awesome interview you guys did last week. So can't wait to listen to that myself, because you guys talked about some really great stuff going on in the world, and how we can be a part to make things better in our world.
Absolutely.
And all that. So,
or I like talking about solutions, right?
Yes.
Less excuses and more solutions, because
that's right.
It's time for all of us to really stand and create the future right now for all of us.
And all of the Real Estate InvestHER show is a show by women and interviewing women, men are allowed to listen to that show
Yes.
too. So I want to let you know there are some phenomenal human beings that just so happen to be women, and men should be listening more to the women in our world, including on the Real Estate InvestHER show, to get some financial education from you guys. So I listen to it regularly. I really think that men should too, to hear what some of our great women that are carving financial future for themselves have to say. So Andressa, this has been a phenomenal interview. Thank you for being here with us, guys. And my audience, thank you guys for being here. Be here next Monday, 3 p.m. I will be here with Jordan Thibodeau. He's a Bigger Pockets contributor and a great human being. I'm looking forward to next week's conversation as well. And it'll be just as great as this one. And Andressa will be joining you guys and typing in some answers to your questions on Facebook and on YouTube to keep the conversation going there too. So keep pumping in your questions, because Andressa has offered to jump in and offer some thoughts to you guys there.
Yeah.
Andressa, thank you.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Yes, it's a pleasure to you guys. Pleasure to be with you. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Andressa, one more time. And it's such an honor to be presenting this to you guys today. Have a great day. Happy Monday. Ending.